family, it's Tasha, MAMABEAR Homestead. So today I'm just going to bring you a short little video. This is something that I researched last year, and I just wanted to share it with you because we're in the process of constantly getting trees, planting trees, and I want to discuss the best times to plant a tree, right? What is the best time to plant a tree? What time of year? Things to do, just little tips and tricks that I've learned over the last year. And for me, the best time for planting trees. Now, if you go to any Home Depot, Lowe's, nursery, right, there's all types of trees, but especially your main hubs, like that are social, right, for everybody, like your big box stores, right, your Home Depots and stuff. If you go to them right now, there is all sorts of trees out right now. Fruit trees galore, pear trees, all this stuff. And you're like, okay, but frost baby is still here, right? No, my nose is running. Frost is not here, is still here, right? We haven't gotten past that. This cold snap still happening, random rain, random not. You got snow happening still. So you got a lot of weather stuff happening that will affect you trying to put a tree in the ground. But yet there's a lot of stuff that's available right now for people to plant a tree, right? And what's crazy is because these big box stores, they're getting ready to just ramp up, right? You know, the crazy time, spring, summer, everybody and their mother's out buying, trees and flowers, pretty flowers, all the pretty things, all the landscaping stuff, all the stuff to like get their, gardens and landscaping pretty, and everybody and their mother is out, right? All the nurseries are full. It doesn't matter where you go. Everybody's everywhere getting everything, okay? And it's a very, very busy time of year. And so they're ramping up and they have these trees out. But in theory, in my opinion, it's not the right time to plant a tree. So the right time to plant a tree to me is fall time. Really the very, very end of summer into fall. So like September, even the end of August, September, October, well before frost, right? So not doing it before frost, doing it when that ground is kind of mushy, it's kind of soft. There's been some rain. Temperatures are not super low yet, but they're not super high from the summer. Now, if you still have 100-degree weather, to me that's not the time to do it. You need to wait a little bit more farther into fall. That's just my thought process, right? Because the tree is a living thing, and I think if you're digging a hole and you're putting in this tree that has live roots that essentially you want to just put in the best hole and spot possible so that those roots just go, and so that's kind of the issue, is why it's important about when to do it. If I was to get a tree right now, all these trees are here, like, let's go get trees, right? And I go and get apple trees and pear trees and all this stuff. And right now, there's a cold snap, there's frost nights, right? And you could dig a hole. Let's say you found a day that was kind of warmer, maybe 40s, 50s. You dug a hole, the permafrost wasn't really there. It wasn't super difficult to dig the hole. But the thing is because of the time of year it is, you put that tree in the hole, and then nighttime comes, freeze comes, frost comes, whatever. And the tree roots don't get a chance to actually farm out and get into that side dirt. It's almost like they're going to hit a cold wall. Everybody's like, well, underground is warmer. Yes, underground is warm, but trees still need to be protected against frost, especially young trees that are still babies, right? They need to be protected from wind and weather and wind, blowing, and they need to be protected from their roots and giving them the best chance to make it. Otherwise, they're going to go dormant. They're going to hit that wall. They're going to go dormant. They're going to altogether die. And so, which neither I don't like either, right? So I like to plant trees. So in this last year, fall time is the best time. Those trees are doing the best. They're nice, healthy, that you gave them a chance now to actually grow those roots out and get a setting and get their own footing before, those different seasons hit them, before, hardcore winter hits them. And then they come out of winter and it's spring and maybe there's more rain, and then there's summer, it's super hot. And so they're established before they hit those other seasons, right? And that's what you want, is for them to have a chance to branch out. Some things I learned was obviously sometimes people plant trees much lower than they need to be. You want them to be level of the dirt in the pot, and or maybe even sticking up a little bit and kind of be mounded up. I kind of like the mounded look. just because in the wintertime, if I do go to burlap them or do something, it just kind of looks like a pretty mound. Not too much out of the ground, because again, that ground is what helps keeps them warm. Okay, so don't be, you know, planting a tree and sticking halfway out of the ground talking about, Tasha told me to, no. I'm just talking about barely, okay? A little tiny mound, okay? Another thing I learned is you dig the hole, you put the plant in, then before you put the dirt back around it, you fill the hole with water, and then you just let it sit. That is gonna tell you, and you just let it drain, right? That is gonna tell you how good your soil is in the area that you're setting that tree at for drainage. So obviously last year we planted trees and we did this, and some areas were really good, and some areas we put trees, it was not good. It took forever for the water to drain out, right? But then there's other ones where it drained a good amount. You know, draining super fast too could be an issue, but that's how you kind of tell right away how your drainage, how your dirt is underneath the ground in that tree, okay? And then you can put the dirt in around it and fill it in, right? But trees, fall time to me is the best time to plant trees. There's another sweet spot that I found that I enjoy, and that's in springtime, right after the last frost. So that's gone, but well before that heat, that drought, that really, really hot weather, right? That springtime where you're still having some rainy days, you're getting some rain, spring rains. It's warm, right? The ground is nice and warm. It's softer, but it's not super hot, and it's definitely not wintertime, and it's not cold snaps and stuff like that. So to me, there is that sweet time in there as well for planting trees, but my favorite is fall. And then that sweet time is okay too. I mean, you're going to figure out for your area what is the best for you. You know, if you go to a nursery, this is my favorite thing to do too, is when I want to know, for example, when I wanted to know with trees and evergreens and other types of trees that maybe weren't evergreens, but I wanted to see how well they did in wintertime, I would go to the nurseries in wintertime when those plants are out, and I could clearly see, okay, well, this tree is an absolute, all the leaves are gone, right? Oh, this tree's not an evergreen, but it still, in my area, it still is keeping a lot of its leaves, right? And so that's what I wanted to know. And of course, evergreens, you get to see the evergreens, you get to see, do they thin out, how do they look, because still some evergreens, you know, do they get too dry in the winter time because of the cold? So there's a lot you can tell about trees, the type of trees that you want to get just by visiting the nursery at different times of year, right? You get to see it in full bloom in summer, and of course that's when they're trying to sell it to you, and you're like, oh, I love this tree, and then it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like in winter maybe. And depending on what you're using that tree for, sometimes that stuff will matter, okay? You know, if you're trying to fill in a border along the fence, it matters if that tree loses all its leaves, and now you've lost your security fence, you know, your fence, your tree line that you wanted to have around your fence for privacy, okay? But it will also tell you how good those trees do. Do they hold up? Did they go dormant? You know, how do they look? How healthy do they look? And if in winter time, and then that way, you know, once you plant them, you kind of know already how that plant is gonna, that tree is gonna hold up once you put it in the ground on your property, because you're going to a nursery that's in your area, right? And is going, you know, all those plants of that nursery that are outside are going through the same cold snaps and wind snaps and all the crazy weather that you're dealing with. Those trees at that nursery, if they're outside, they're going through that as well, okay? Obviously, this isn't the plants that they have all inside sheltered. This is the plants that are outside that you get to see go through those ups and downs of the different weather patterns in your area. So those are some of the things that I've kind of learned as we move forward with trees. You know, obviously some trees, you know, they're boy and girl. You have to have two for pollination. If you don't know that stuff, I mean, this is the thing. I don't know everything, but I'm a pretty good researcher. And I ask questions. So I'll either, if I'm in the, you know, I want to have a certain tree, fruit tree, whatever the case may be, I'll either research first, hey, is this a tree that needs to have two trees? And or if I find the answer or don't have the answer, I'll ask the nursery, see if I get the same answer. Or if I didn't have time to research and ask them, they'll know, and they will help you out, okay? Also, you know, sometimes you don't know what you don't know as far as what you want. So let them help you. Also with nurseries, they usually have a huge clearance aisle. Like I love, it's not really an aisle, it's a whole section of just red tagged trees, right? And plants and different things, but I go for the trees, and they're red tagged, baby, 50% off, 75% off. I'm grabbing them left and right. And again, they're outside, so I can see exactly what they look like, how they weathered, all this stuff, right? And so, but nurseries, you know, they have to clear out. It's just like Home Depot. They got to clear out for the other, you know, newer, better, brighter stuff, right, for the season. And so a lot of times they go to the nursery, and that's all I shop from. I just shop from the clearance. And if you go to a nursery, there's a better chance of you getting 2 of something, right? Or 3 of something, 4 of something, a multiple number of that, right? At least 2, so that, you know, if you have a plant or it's a tree that where you need more than one, you're good to go, okay? So we're all learning. Hopefully in the comments, you guys are sharing with each other different things you're learning. I learn from you guys in the comments every single time. Apologies that I don't always answer comments over here on this channel. I'm just going to keep it real. I don't spend a whole lot of time over here. I'm just trying to basically keep it afloat until we get really going with more projects and or moving, whatever the case may be, to where I can actually really show you stuff. You know, it's wintertime, a lot of stuff we're just doing indoor stuff. So I hope you guys are well. I'll see you guys next time on the next video. Take care. Bye.